Hello everyone, welcome back to Alternative Apex. We are here for the 7th round of the season here at the Great Imola circuit here on a nice clear sunny day for the 7th race of the season. Of course, if you're new here to Formula Equal, this series is a series with all of the drivers in the Formula 1 grid, all in equal machinery here. It's often something that people would question what would happen if all of the Formula 1 drivers had the same opportunity in the sport. Well, now we can find out courtesy of the Formula 1 game F1 25. We are 6 races in. We saw 5 different winners in the first 5 races, but then Verstappen took his second win of the season in Miami. Let's have a look here how they line up on the grid for today's race, and it's Lando Norris, the championship leader, on pole position ahead of the man with 2 wins to his name, Max Verstappen, in second place there for Red Bull Racing, looking to recover some points in his championship challenge. Behind them it's George Russell and Lewis Hamilton, with Pierre Gasly and Yuki Tsunoda making up row 3. Behind them it is Charles Leclerc and Liam Lawson, with Alexander Albon and Nicole Magrani at the top 10 positions. Behind them it's Fernando Alonso with Esteban Ocon, their former teammates, with Bortoleto and Piastri adding another disappointing qualifying to his resume, with Sainz and Antonelli behind them, Hadjar and Lance Stroll making up the 9th row, with the 10th row being Jack Doohan and Frank Colapinto, with the final place on the grid going to Oliver Behrman, the Haas driver, still searching for his first points of the season, as is quite a few drivers in this field now. We're just moments away from the race starting. This track isn't the easiest track to overtake on, but there's definitely a good chance down to turn 1, so whilst we may not see someone go last to first or anything crazy like that, we should still see a good fight for victory here today. And hopefully that delivers for us, because, of course, Norris on pole is the championship leader, but Verstappen looking to get a 3rd win of the season. Can he cut into that championship lead? If he can, it would be quite something here. And we've got other names like Charles Leclerc still looking for their 1st win, Lewis Hamilton looking to try and find some consistent performances this season. George Russell hasn't won since the season opener, maybe he can get in the mix. Lots of drivers throughout the field all looking to try and take victory here today. And, well, maybe, just maybe, one of those drivers yet to win can do it. The cars are on the grid then, the lights are on, and we are racing here in Imola, and it's a good start from both drivers on the front row, but it's especially good from Lando Norris from pole position. He's going to lead them down towards turn 1 here. Max Verstappen's on the outside as they head towards the Tamburello chicane. They're side by side, and Verstappen does what he did in real life. He's going to make the move through the first couple of corners, but Norris is fighting back. He's doing what Piastri couldn't do, and as they head into the Villeneuve chicane now, it's Lando Norris that leads the Grand Prix ahead of Max Verstappen and George Russell there. Pierre Gasly's had a good start. He's up into 4th place there, alongside Lewis Hamilton in the Ferrari as they head through the hairpin now. Behind them, Yuki Tsunoda in P6, Charles Leclerc 7th. We've got Albon and Lawson battling behind them then as they come up the hill. It's still side by side for 4th position. Hamilton slightly ahead, but can he carry the speed around the outside? Yes, he can. He gets the move done on Pierre Gasly, and into 4th position the 7-time champion goes. It's Lando Norris up at the front ahead of Max Verstappen and George Russell. Lewis Hamilton 4th, with Gasly in 5th. Now as we see a battle already emerging, George Russell is right on the tail of Max Verstappen here, and Lando Norris, he's going to be loving this in his mirrors. They're battling for 2nd place, and George Russell's going to sweep easily up into that position there as they head down towards the chicane, but Max Verstappen's fighting back on the brakes. He's not quite able to do it though, as Verstappen gives way to Russell. They're battling behind Pierre Gasly, all out of shape going through that first chicane there. Looks like he got caught off a little bit there through the first couple of corners, but he's now got a bit of a train going behind him. That'll be good news for Hamilton, who's going to be able to break away here. But as we come to the end of the 2nd lap, George Russell is on the back of Lando Norris for the lead of this race. He's making a charger in these early stages. He made the move on Verstappen. Can he now make the move on Lando Norris for the lead of the race? The power of DRS is going to allow him to cruise through and into the lead of the race. George Russell leads them on lap number 3 here. The Mercedes driver looking for that 2nd win of the season here and looking to try and get back into this championship fight, but Norris is not going to let him get away here. You can see Norris has stayed right with him on that lap, and with the power of DRS now he's going to have the chance to fight back down this main straight. The DRS is so powerful through this part of the racetrack. Lando Norris is going to clear George Russell before they even get close to the corner there. Lando Norris back to the lead of the race there. The championship leader doing what he does best. He leads them through the first 3 corners again here today. today, but now look at this, the top three are getting very close now. Russell is right on the tail of Norris, but Verstappen's close as well here. This could be crucial for Norris's race. If he drops to third, he could be in real trouble. He just about blocks off Max Verstappen. George Russell to the lead, Norris just barely holding on to that second position. Meanwhile, Yuki Tsunoda's gone on a charge. He's up into fourth place now, ahead of Lewis Hamilton. A very impressive drive from the Japanese driver, but now we can see here Lando Norris not having a great lap that time around. Looks like he's lost a little bit of ground to George Russell. Max Verstappen's under the pressure. Norris has lost DRS here, and Verstappen's going to cruise into second place here. The championship leader is down to third as they battle for fourth behind him. Lewis Hamilton back ahead of Tsunoda. Behind them, you've got Gasly, Leclerc, Albon, Lawson, and Nico Hülkenberg just racing there with Fernando Alonso for that final point-paying position here today. In Imola, it's getting tight throughout the field here. As you look back towards the front, you can now see that's Verstappen with his powerful DRS in second position. He's going to have a chance here towards the first corner, but I think it's going to be a long shot for him to pull this one off here. Not quite close enough on this occasion. Lando Norris just watching and keeping close now as we see that battling behind. Gasly now is back ahead of Yuki Tsunoda. Charles Leclerc down into 7th still, not having the day he needed to try and search for his first race victory here, as he already would expect to have a win this season. Sadly, it's not gone his way just yet. As towards the back end of the points, we've got Liam Lawson. He's feeling pressure from Alexander Albon, and Nico Hülkenberg goes around and into the gravel trap. Nico Hülkenberg has spotted at the chicane, and that is going to be his race over there in the Sauber. He was in the top 10, and it's over now for him. The safety car is deployed in this Grand Prix, and with the entire field yet to pit yet, they're all going to come in, and this is going to be wild as the race leader pulls into pit lane. George Russell, he's going to be dreaming of a nice quick pit stop. This could be crucial for his Grand Prix. Verstappen slotting in just behind him there. They go from the mediums to the hard compound tyres. Russell held a little bit, but he's out okay. And looks like George Russell is going to hold on to leave this race. You can see there, that's Liam Lawson pulling into his box. Verstappen is still in second place. Pierre Gasly with a dream jump in the pit lane there. He's up into third position, ahead of Lewis Hamilton, ahead of Lando Norris here. As they're under the safety car, you can see George Russell at the moment is your race leader, ahead of Verstappen, Gasly, Hamilton, Norris, Alonso, Tsunoda, Leclerc, Albon, and now Bortoletto looking for his first points of the season. He's now into 10th position there. His teammate causing that safety car may well end up working out for the Brazilian driver here. But as we get ready to go back racing again here, the safety car has pulled into the pit lane. It's George Russell at the head of the field, ahead of Max Verstappen, and now Pierre Gasly in the podium positions. It won't be the first time we've seen him in those positions this year. Maybe he can hold on to it this time, as we're back to green flag racing here. George Russell leads us down towards the Tamburello chicane. Verstappen looks out of the slipstream, not quite able to go for it. Russell has to go defensive. That's going to bunch them up behind here, and it looks as though Russell, for now at least, has held on to the lead on this restart, but Max Verstappen is right there, and he looks ready to retake the lead of this Grand Prix. George Russell is in trouble. Max Verstappen has the speed by the looks of it, as behind him you can see Pierre Gasly seeing an opportunity here to try and add his name to the winners list this season. Lewis Hamilton, Lando Norris both will be searching to try and find a way past the Alpine driver, who so far hasn't quite had the speed to win races. Maybe in Bahrain, but not quite in the other races. Now we see Verstappen goes from one side to the other. He's looking all over the road, and he's going to take it away from George Russell. The lead goes to Max Verstappen, and Pierre Gasly now will be the next one to be on the back of George Russell. Can he take advantage there of the Mercedes being slowed down a little bit? Doesn't look like he's quite able to do it there, as Verstappen has held the lead, but look at this now from George Russell. He's coming back at the Red Bull driver as they head down the main straight once more. We've seen this one before, haven't we? It's going to be a change of the lead, or is it? George Russell looking to the outside. He's almost in the grass there. They're side by side into the chicane. Russell brakes later. He makes the move, as does Lewis Hamilton behind him, as we see Pierre Gasly drop back into fourth place there. Lando Norris next up behind him. He'll be looking to try and make that place too. As now we see it's Franco Colapinto into the final points playing position, still looking for his first points of the season here. So two drivers both searching for that first point of the season in him and Bortoletto, battling out for those 10th and 11th places here. As we look back towards the front, we see here, this is Max Verstappen attempting to retake the lead once more here. He's going to have the inside line as they head towards turn one, and Max Verstappen is going to lead the Grand Prix once again with just a couple laps to go in this one. It's Verstappen out front ahead of George Russell and Lewis Hamilton. Pierre Gasly in fourth place. Now I have to apologise. I had an issue clipping the end of the race. I'm honestly not sure what happened. I cannot find the clips of the final couple of laps anywhere, But rest assured, the man that was leading at the time that we lost footage was the man that won the race. Max Verstappen took victory here in Imola, the Red Bull team, overjoyed. That is his third win of the season, and if he wins next time out, he'll have won half the races this season, and maybe still not lead the championship because Norris has just been so consistent. But Norris does not stand on the podium here today. Lewis Hamilton held on to that final podium position just behind George Russell there, who put up a fight to try and retake the lead, but wasn't quite able to do it, as Lando Norris just missing out on the podium in the end after having to battle with Pierre Gasly. Lewis Hamilton finally getting some strong results together after a very hit-or-miss start to the season for the Ferrari driver, starting to build a little bit of consistency and adding to his points tally, getting him in the mix for the top 5 positions in the Drivers' Championship, because I fear the top 2 or 3 may have already pulled a little bit too far away for him. But of course, Ferrari in the Constructors' Championship fight, they'll be looking to get more out of this season as well, and any result that is good for Hamilton will be good for Ferrari. So looking at the results for the Imola Grand Prix, you can see Verstappen wins it, but ahead of George Russell, just under 2 seconds between the two of them. Then it was Lewis Hamilton, Lando Norris behind him, Pierre Gasly in 5th place. Yuki Tsunoda took the fast lap from that race, takes 6th place. Charles Leclerc, a disappointing drive, 2P7 there. Fernando Alonso in 8th, just ahead of Alexander Albon, and the first points of his time in Formula 1, Gabriel Bortoleto takes his first point of the season there for Sauber, just beating out Liam Lawson and Franco Colapinto in the end, and that will be a much needed point for the Brazilian's tally here, taking him off of the fat zero. As now we look towards the Drivers' Championship, it is Lando Norris just barely ahead of Max Verstappen now, just a 5-point difference now. George Russell, 21 points off the lead, he's not out of it just yet. Nor is Charles Leclerc, although it's a bit of a stretch. He's not out of this fight just yet. Lando Norris is going to have to start to worry here, because Verstappen is building up some strong momentum at the moment, and if he continues to drive the way he's been driving, he could really be getting into a position where he can start pulling away out front in the championship. But for now, he's still in second. Norris still leads the way with his consistent season so far, but Verstappen is really threatening that position behind them, and just at the back of the top 5 you've got Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton, with Fernando Alonso, Liam Lawson, Yuki Tsunoda, Carlos Sainz, Pierre Gasly rounding out the top 10 in the Drivers' Championship. Just behind them, you've got Oscar Piastri having a disastrous season, it has to be said, for McLaren. Just behind him, you have Esteban Ocon on the Haas, who of course got the podium in the season opener. As there you have Nico Hülkenberg, the man who spun off today behind them, with Albon, Antonelli, Stroll and Bortoleto, the final drivers who have points to their name this season. In the Constructors' Championship, Red Bull lead the way with a 13-point margin, but this really is a three-way fight for the Constructors, it has to be said. Red Bull, surprisingly, perhaps unlike real life, they've actually seemed to have the most consistent driver lineup. Yuki Tsunoda has done a remarkable job there, not winning races, not really getting on the podium, but he's keeping himself in the mix, he's getting solid points, and he's scoring pretty much every race, and that is something that cannot be said for Piastri. And when it comes to Ferrari, it seems like each driver takes a week off in alternate weeks. It's a very strange situation at Ferrari, but really, you'd have to say Ferrari have got the talent there to easily take this Constructors' Championship, but at the moment, they're stuck, 28 points off the lead. But who knows, maybe they can begin to recover there, as they're still ahead of Mercedes at least. So that is it for the race here in Imola. I do hope you all enjoyed it. Next time out, we will be going to Monaco for the Monaco Grand Prix, and I'll warn you ahead of time, it'll be a relatively short video. Monaco, of course, is a unique racetrack, let's say. It's not the easiest for overtaking, and even with the 2 pit stop rule, which is now in place, even in the F1 game, where each driver has to pit twice during the Grand Prix, it may not be the most spectacular of races, but that doesn't mean you should miss it, because there could still be some very important championship implications. So I do hope you tune in again next week. But until then, thank you very much for watching. Till next time, goodbye.